In this episode of Cosmic Sponge, archaeologists close in on the tomb of Cleopatra. Natural wormholes may have been detected in deep space. An unknown queen and 300 mummies were unearthed in Saqqara, Egypt. The nearby star Betelgeuse may be on the verge of a supernova, and the FBI, working with the Air Force OSI, raid the home of a UFO researcher. Then, as we enter the holiday season, we bring you our gift recommendations for the paranormal, cryptid, and UFO aficionado in your life, including the gift of ancient knowledge, where we reveal how monks came up with the names for celestial objects. Now it's around 13th century.
No, it was like, I heard about this. The monk kept saying, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Welcome to Cosmic Sponge, the podcast where we discuss weird wonders in the world. I'm Stephen Hall.
And I'm Jimmy Coe.
Better than last week, you were like, Jimmy Coe.
I was falling asleep last week.
On tonight's episode, we are going to do some news updates. There's been a lot of news going on lately, and we're going to finish up the show with a few gift ideas. I think last year around Christmas, we waited till like a week or two before Christmas. You know, by then, just about everybody except me has finished their Christmas shopping, and especially if you have to order something, right? So we decided to jump right into it because Black Friday, as we record this, is just a few days away. In fact, we're recording this on the eve of Thanksgiving Eve. Not as much fun as Halloween, but I don't think, anyway.
No, not at all.
But the next day is much more fun. Lots of good food, at least at my house.
Yeah.
What are you guys having? Like stuffing or something? Or I mean like a tomato?
I'm the only weird one in the family. Everybody else eats normal food. I eat all of that. I ate hummus.
Do you eat like pumpkin pie? Do you have pumpkin pie?
I don't like pumpkin pie. I like pecan pie.
Pecan. Yeah, we're having both. Pumpkin and pecan.
You're having both pecan and pecan?
Yeah, man. We're doing it right.
Man, you guys are sophisticated. Having some of that northern pecan pie.
Pecan.
All
right. Let's move on before we start debating how to pronounce pecan.
It's pecan.
Pecan pie.
Pea in a can.
So besides preparing for Thanksgiving, what have you been up to this past week?
Work. Lots of work. But I did have time to take a break because I heard some exciting news about Elizabeth Taylor.
Elizabeth Taylor?
Yeah, didn't she play Cleopatra in one of those old-timey movies?
Yeah, with the movie Cleopatra from 1960. I think at the time was the most expensive movie ever made. Right.
Well, they've been searching for Cleopatra's tomb since she died, apparently. And somebody, a group, has been doing some excavations in Egypt around Alexandria because her temple was in Alexandria. Her main,
right.
Her main digs were there.
Right. She was descended from the Ptolemies. But real quick, I just want to know, is this Merlin Burroughs that maybe found this before we get into that?
No. It was,
Do you not get the reference?
I just got the reference. Yes, I think that's right. That's absolutely right. The ghost of.
No, and listeners, if you're curious about that, listen to last week's episode on Atlantis. You're going to find out it's a minnow pond or something at in the bottom of the tomb.
Probably. I mean, all the depictions have a pond in it, so I mean,
yeah,
it's probably what it is. Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities announced last week that an Egyptian Dominican archaeological mission of the University of San Domingo discovered the roughly 4,300-foot tunnel about 40 feet below the ground at the Temple of Taposiris Magna. Those are ruins near Alexandria in Egypt. Now, the actual location of Cleopatra's palace is underwater now, and that's because of some earthquakes and land shifts. But they think that her tomb is elsewhere. And her tomb was completed prior to her death, and that's where she escaped to, according to legend, and where she took her own life as Octavius was coming in and kicking butt and taking names. They found this long tunnel, and they found a lot of coins and other relics in there, which lead them to believe that this might indeed be a pathway to the tomb of her last resting place, and theoretically, Mark Antony will be hanging out with her down there, I guess, in the afterlife, knocking boots.
The whole story of Cleopatra, after she was captured, the failed battle, what was that, sea battle? Her and Mark Antony was up against Octavia, who later became the Emperor Augustus the first true emperor of Rome.
Yeah, that's where they were battling Jack Sparrow and the Kraken.
Yeah.
I'm not real good at history. Sometimes I get it confused with movies.
Let's see, what was that? Actium. So there was a big naval battle. The final showdown with Cleopatra and Mark Antony on one side, Octavia/Augustus on the other side, and they lost. I think Mark Antony fell on a sword,
He committed
suicide.
Yeah.
And then she's under house arrest. The story goes a couple different ways. One is her servants smuggled in a viper, a snake, maybe a cobra, and it bit her and she died of the snake bite. Others say maybe it was actually Octavia that had her murdered and just passed that story around. So who knows, really?
Yeah, I also heard the story where she just drank some poison concoction because she was quite the alchemist when it came to poisons. I don't know if you'd call it alchemy. She was quite the anti-doctor when it came to poisons, and she liked to torture
She's
people.
good at the poison.
Yeah.
If you got a rat problem, infestation, go see Cleopatra. She'll hook you up.
Cleopatra's extermination agency.
But anyway, after that, yeah, I've always heard of Cleopatra's tomb, but I guess I've never really looked into that. What is supposed to have happened? I looked up that story while you were going over that. So, listeners, I'll drop that on Facebook, and you can check it out for yourself.
We'll keep you updated if any more news comes in on that front and they actually find Cleopatra's body and Mark Antony's body, or she may have slept around, so there might be another guy in there. I don't know.
So I have a story. There's a Bulgarian research team that announced that they have developed this method that they say could be used to detect wormholes. And wormholes, in case you don't know, are those theoretical structures that could be a shortcut through, the universe, through the galaxy. You could go in one side of this wormhole and come out somewhere else. It's been a long staple in science fiction. The math for it exists. The Einstein-Rosenberg bridge it's often called. Theoretically possible, but these scientists in Bulgaria claim that they may have developed a technique for actually discovering if these things are real.
Ooh. Hey, that's how Thor travels. They used that in the Thor movies. They even used the name.
What?
The Eisenberg, what was the name?
Rosenberg. Rosenberg.
Yeah. They used that name in the Thor movies. That's how they describe that bright light and then Thor shows up.
Carl Sagan, the book Contact, which I believe is his only fiction novel, and that's how they traveled. And because he was wanting to keep it very sciencey, being a scientist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good book.
Yeah, it's a great book. So anyway, detecting these potential wormholes can be a problem. Also would be hypothetically indistinguishable from black holes. So this team says that based on the findings of a team with the University of Sofia in Bulgaria, say they have developed a novel new method that could help scientists differentiate between black holes and these possible wormholes. In a paper published in the Physical Review D, studied linear polarization produced by accretion disks, the rotating formations of matter that's visible around black holes and other astronomical objects that may consist mostly of gases, plasma, or stellar dust. Now, according to this team's paper, they searched for specific signatures in the polarization properties of these formations, which they hoped might help them determine the difference between black holes and any suspected candidates for wormholes. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, if wormholes exist, it may be a way around the old cosmic speed limit. And there's some other details in here.
Yeah, what you got? Any other little details that are fun?
Well, according to the researchers' models, light being emitted by any particles encircling a wormhole would become polarized by the strong magnetic fields they produce. Conveniently, these very sorts of polarized emissions have already been detected, leading to the first images of M87 that were captured in 2019. Similar detections also using the imagery of Sagittarius A captured earlier this year. Based on the team's models, M87 could itself be a wormhole, leaving open the possibility that wormholes could be hidden in association with many other black holes. It's a pretty interesting idea here.
To prove that wormholes exist, that'd be awesome. But if you people are asleep after that, let me wake you up with a supernova that's going to explode and destroy planet Earth. And it's named after Michael Keaton's most famous character, Betelgeuse. Okay, not really. It wouldn't explode and come all this way, but it'd make a spectacular light in the sky. Now, a couple of years ago in 2019, they noticed a big dip in the energy levels of Betelgeuse, which made them suspect that possibly it had come time for it to go supernova, and they predicted it would go supernova around now. But what they found instead is that dip that it had in its energy levels, it's actually building back up, and it looks like it's stabilizing. And what they think that was actually a expulsion event that happens even with our sun, but it was like 1,500 times more massive than our sun, the expulsion event there. So it burned off a lot of its exterior mass. But whatever it's doing, it looks like it's just building its energy back up, and then it's just part of the cycle. And we probably have to hang out a minimum of 600 years, but probably closer to 600,000 years if we want to hang out and see this puppy explode.
It would be amazing. Betelgeuse, which is the name of it, spelled a little differently than the movie with Michael Keaton, but
it's French.
Betelgeuse is a massive red giant. If it was in our solar system, it would extend to the orbit of Jupiter, 10,000 times the mass of our star. Now, one thing, Jimmy, I don't know if your article mentioned this or not, but we've actually been able to capture, I think the Hubble Space Telescope captured images of Betelgeuse. Mm-hmm. There's a bulge on the star. It's deformed right now, or 640 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 640 light years away, so pretty good chance that star has already gone supernova, and we're just waiting for the light of that to get here. But yeah, pretty exciting. If you want to see Betelgeuse, it's really easy to spot in the night sky. It rises in the east right now about this time of year, around 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier. If you know the constellation of Orion, in the northern hemisphere here, it's kind of laying on its back. You have the three stars, Orion's belt, and if you look sort of directly down toward the horizon, you'll see this really bright orangey star that's flickering and everything. That's Betelgeuse, and it's just this massive red giant. You can't miss it.
Yeah, and you will know if it's gone supernova because it will be so bright. They say that the light from it's going to be about as bright as our moon is.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to look up and see it in the night sky, and probably, would you be able to see it in the daylight, you think?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Some supernovas happened during the Renaissance, one in 1572, another one in 1604. Both of those became visible during the day, and the light doesn't dissipate. It doesn't just explode and go away. I mean, it actually glows for a number of days, typically. Astronomers have detected supernovas in other galaxies and maybe some in our galaxy too, but they've been so far away, we haven't really been able to observe them with the naked eye. This is so close to the planet Earth that it most definitely will be visible.
That'd be pretty cool. I just looked up Betelgeuse to see where did they get their name? Did it come from Michael Keaton's? Because that was an awesome acting job. But no, indeed, it comes from Arabic because, back in the day, most of the stars in the night sky are named after the Arabic culture, the Persians, I guess. Would it be the Persians?
Many of the stars, Altair, especially the ones that start with the AL. In those days, the really bright stars were being mapped in the Arabic world.
Yeah, the original name was Yad al-Jarza, but a 13th century monk who was a sea student had trouble pronouncing that, and I guess he made it he turned it into Betelgeuse just because he liked Michael Keaton. And that was around 13th century.
No, it was like, I heard about this. The monk kept saying, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse.
Though they did see light from a massive supernova much further away than Betelgeuse, and the gamma radiation from that we're just receiving now. So they're getting a lot of information about a star that went supernova and then collapsed into a black hole. And that's that gamma radiation that we're receiving just now. No harm done to any of us. Some of you might turn green and when you get angry. But other than that, we're getting a lot of data coming in off of that right now. And they're using the telescope in Hawaii. The observatory in Hawaii, to really focus in on that, to get a bunch of information, because this doesn't happen every day. So they're getting a lot of information about what kind of energy gets released as a star goes from a star into a black hole after it's supernovaed.
Another interesting piece of trivia here, and we'll talk about this someday on the show, but neutrinos. And I'm not going to get into what neutrinos are, but they are produced by every star in the core of the star. They're super small particles that pass through your body right now. I mean, they pass through the Earth. They pass through everything. They are incredibly difficult to detect. It was theorized, I think, back in the 1930s, maybe. It took scientists a long time to finally detect neutrinos. And we have this massive neutrino detector in Antarctica, where they drilled way down into the ice and put all these neutrino detectors in there. There's also a really big detector very far underground so that no other particles like cosmic rays and stuff will make the detector go off. And incidentally, it's essentially the same way they're trying to detect dark matter, but we'll talk about that another day. But anyway, so there's these neutrino detectors around the Earth. It's extremely rare they ever detect one. It's just whenever a neutrino once in a while will maybe bump a proton in an atom, there's a neutrino light that it'll produce, and these detectors detect it, obviously. So in Japan, for instance, they have this massive neutrino detector. They actually have a sort of protocol that they practice, that if they get a rush of neutrinos, they can tell the direction that they come from by the way the detectors go off. And so they really are on the lookout right now that if they get a rush of neutrinos from the direction of Betelgeuse, for all the observatories to turn their telescopes to Betelgeuse so that they can actually see the eruption, because the neutrinos will arrive first before the actual supernova light comes.
Oh, wow. Oh, guys,
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, I think.
Right. That band from late 1960s, early 1970s called Klaatu, a robot sings all about neutrinos in a song called Little Neutrino. It's a great little tune.
Klaatu.
Klaatu. It's a band. Now, it was also used in a great film called Army of Darkness, which was done by Sam Raimi. Klaatu, Naratu, where he's trying to say the name and keeps forgetting it, which causes the Army of Darkness to rise. But that's a story for another day.
I've got one for you. You know who Robert Bigelow is, right?
Oh, yeah, he's got to make all the Bigelow teas.
Yeah. So
no, he doesn't make tea. He's the hotel billionaire. He has a chain of hotels. And he ran Bigelow Aerospace, and he was a friend of Harry Reid's, and started that whole ATIP program in the government to search for UFOs. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, the ATIP program that never actually existed was actually ALSWAP, which we are going to be doing an episode on this someday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, ATIP kind of existed, but this funding did not go to the ATIP, but it went to another program altogether called ALSWAP. But anyway, yeah, Robert Bigelow's who won that contract whenever Harry Reid got Congress to appropriate the funds, or I guess it was 3 senators got together and appropriated the funding for this, $20 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Alaska, Hawaii, and Reed, which is Nevada, maybe? I can't remember where Harry's from.
Yeah, he was Nevada. So he's passed away now, but he was a retired, at the time, was senator. He was Senate Majority Leader.
Right. Well,
anyway, Robert Bigelow, he has Bigelow Aerospace, and he won that contract, and is very much into UFOs, very much into Skinwalkers. And one thing to keep in mind is a lot of people maybe criticize Harry Reid for doing this program with Bigelow as if Bigelow was a big political contributor to political campaign, but he wasn't. Actually, Bigelow only maybe donated, I think they came up with $10,000 over the whole time they knew each other.
Yep.
Not a lot of money, really, when you think at that kind of level of what he can donate. Well, he has just recently, he donated a record $10 million to the Political Action Committee supporting Ron DeSantis' re-election campaign in Florida.
What is going on with that?
In fact, he's been contributing very heavily to a lot of Republican elections around the country. I mean, he mostly donates to these big super PACs and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He gave $2 million to the PAC Club for Growth Action. But the speculation is Robert Bigelow would like to see Ron DeSantis become president. He donated an extraordinary amount of money for an election campaign that's not even in the state he lives in. He's from Nevada.
You think maybe he's doing a backroom deal with DeSantis where he says, okay, I'll give you all this money. You get in, and then you find out about the alien ships at Area 51, and you let me know. Something spooky happened? You made a face.
I got some crazy ad that just started here. Hold on. Jesus Christ. That freaked me the hell out. I started hearing this really weird-ass music, and I'm like, what the heck?
It's Robert Bigelow, and the Skinwalkers attached to him have attached to you.
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Robert Bigelow, he went down the Democratic road and worked with Harry Reid and the Democrats, wanting to get that stuff declassified. What they call that, full disclosure. And now he's like switching teams. He's like, hey man, we got to get somebody in there. That's probably it. He's probably like, DeSantis, I'm going to make you the next president, but you got to unlock the files. Full disclosure.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may be.
Either that or he wants a tax break.
Well, yeah, that's true. He is.
He's
a
fully believes.
Right?
He's been on 60 Minutes. He's he's 100% a believer in Area 51. He flat out said on 60 Minutes that aliens are visiting planet Earth right now.
Yeah. He's also a believer in the afterlife. He's a believer in the spirit world.
Yeah.
He licked a strange toad once in the desert. I mean, he's full on seeing things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, and he even claims that he got into the hotel business and became this super successful businessman so that he could raise money to pursue these interests such as UFOs.
Right, because his grandfather saw one, and he saw one, I guess, as a kid.
Yeah. He said he never felt like he could, do the math or something. He's like, okay, I can't become a scientist, but what I can do is raise a lot of money to hire people to find out things for me, I guess, or put money into it. But anyway, yeah, more power to him, man.
Yeah. At least there's somebody out there doing it. Well, I think it's good. If he's doing it for the right reasons. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not getting political here either way.
I'm not going to get political either, but quite frankly, these massive political donations disturb me a little anyway, no matter what the cause is. But this is not a political podcast, so we'll just move on to the next topic.
Which is back to Egypt. After, the Betelgeuse debacle that we just had.
An Egypt doubleheader.
They discovered a tomb with an unknown Egyptian queen in it, as well as a couple of hundred other mummies of various states, but mostly in really good state given how old they were. The level of decomposition was not too severe, and they all had really nice gold leaf coverings on them for the most part.
That's unbelievable that team's never been robbed.
Yeah, the queen had a full gold headdress on. And they have a name for the queen. The name was, I'm sorry.
Latifah?
Latifah, yeah. No, it's not Queen Latifah, you dummy. It was a name like Latifah. Let me bring it up here. I don't even know what to do with you, man. So it was discovered in the ancient necropolis Saqqara in Giza, just 20 miles south of Cairo, not far from King Tut's tomb. The trove is thought to have belonged to some of Tut's closest generals and advisors. Now, while digging there, for the past 2 years they've been doing this, they uncovered 5 painted tombs, the tomb of an ancient dignitary, and a sarcophagus belonging to King Ramses II, the treasurer. The team had initially focused its efforts on a nearby pyramid of Teti, the first king of the 6th dynasty of Egypt. Now, he was worshipped as a god in the New Kingdom period, and so people wanted to be buried near him. Zawahi Hawass, who is probably the go-to guy in Egypt for anything dealing with the ancient Egyptian civilization, was working on the dig, and he once served as Minister of Antiquities, and he's communicating here about the find. And one of the things they found is they found a massive limestone sarcophagus, 300 coffins from the New Kingdom period, also known as the Egyptian Empire, that lasted from the 6th century to the 11th century BCE. The coffins have individual faces, each one unique, distinguishing between men and women. Think about that. 300 coffins, each one carved with distinct faces.
Personalized.
Yep. I don't know that they etched in the names in there. It's hard to say. And they're decorated with various scenes from the ancient Egyptian funerary text, the Book of the Dead, which we have an episode coming up on, something related to that. And each coffin also has the name of the deceased, so I guess they did etch the name in, and often shows the 4 sons of Horus, who protected the organs of the deceased from, I guess, organ harvesters. And inside the coffins, archaeologists found the bodies of well-preserved mummies. Despite opportunities for decaying and looting, the mummies remained untouched and in good condition. They also found a queen. Her name was not Queen Latifah, but it was indeed Neith. Neith. And there I'm back to my spelling from the early days.
It's Neith, I think.
Neith.
That's what it looks like to me.
Queen Lanitha. And it's amazing to literally rewrite the history that they once thought they knew by adding a new queen to their records. And they're excited about this find. A selection of the foundings found at Saqqara will be on view at the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza next year when it opens.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I love this story. Jimmy, are you familiar with this theory that all of reality, that all of us are actually living in a simulation?
Oh, yeah, like it's Sim City, and I'm one of those little dudes that keeps bumping into the wall. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, you're Pac-Man, right?
I'm something. Puck-Man.
Puck-Man. Yeah, it made me think of your,
thing from last week.
Was that last week? I think.
That was last week. Yeah. Punk-Man.
Yeah.
Puck-Man. They had to change it because people kept changing the P to an F.
Yeah.
I am familiar with it. And, Elon Musk talked about this, and he says it's far more likely that is true than not true, given the state of that infinity exists, that we're probably further along down the line of infinity than towards the beginning of whatever that would mean, because presumably you go infinity in both directions.
It's called a simulation theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's the idea that we are living in some kind of simulation, maybe like the Matrix or something, right? Think about the Matrix, spoiler alert. They're all living in this simulation that is being created by an alien race of beings that's sapping their energy or something. I don't know. Never did figure that part out. And we're going to do an episode on the simulation, but just briefly, that's what the concept is. There is a physicist, Melvin Vopson, of the University of Portsmouth in England, and he laid out his theory, and he says that he has created a simulation test, which builds on the idea that a simulated universe would contain a lot of information bits everywhere, and that those bits would represent the code. So he said that detecting these information bits would prove the simulation hypothesis. He is building on his own recently proposed mass energy information equivalence principle, which suggests that mass can be expressed as energy or information, or vice versa. The physicist believes that information bits would have a small mass. If one can find the mass of those bits, he adds, one would be theoretically detecting the bits themselves, which in turn, according to his theory, which he published in The Conversion. The experiment involves erasing information contained inside elementary particles and letting them and their antiparticles annihilate in a flash of energy, emitting photons or light particles. As it turns out, he wants to try and raise money, so he's decided to crowdsource the funding for this experiment, and he's using Indiegogo for this. The physicist is looking to build a workbench positron electron annihilation system containing custom-built components that will allow detection of gamma and photons simultaneously. So far, the campaign's only raised about $1,000, of the roughly $219,000 goal. But anyway, he is hopeful that he can get the funds raised so he can put together this equipment and prove that we are living in a video game.
Yeah, I remember a panel talking about, are we living in a simulation? It was hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson. There were physicists and philosophers on the panel. He just sort of asked the questions. And then the real scientist, not just being mean. Neil's great. I love him. But Linda Randall, who is a Harvard physicist, and there was a couple of MIT physicists and then a couple of philosophers, all of which were talking about this various topics, but I remember this being one. And I found it really interesting that one of the MIT, I can't remember her name, one of the MIT professors had proposed this idea that she had this idea that perhaps the one way we might go about determining whether or not we live in a simulation was analysis of radioactive decay, if I remember correctly. Now, I'm not a physicist and honestly, not my strongest topic. I mean, I'm as good at physics as I am at my rocket science. And I haven't made anything that goes above 4 feet off the ground. That's usually me when I jump off a trampoline. But I have to say there are people out there who are thinking about this, and my question to them would be, say you prove we are living in a simulation, then what?
Right.
I mean, what's the advantages to all of us with this? And there might be some I'm not seeing, and matter of fact, I am sure there are some I'm not seeing, but I am curious. We live in a simulation, then what? Do we start manipulating the simulation? All of us become Neo?
Yeah, right. Start walking on walls and being able to lean backwards when somebody shoots at you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want people to shoot at me. Not even in a simulation.
Yeah. I don't know, man. These days, pretty good skill to have.
Yeah, to dodge bullets for sure. Yeah. So, that's an interesting idea. I think we're in a simulation. Like I said, I bump into walls all the time. It's not just because I'm clumsy. I think it's because the guy's controlling me is drunk.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, how about this? Did you know that if you put up a UFO website, you're in danger of being raided by the FBI and the Air Force? This actually happened to a guy who put up a website, All Things 51.
Right. I read about this.
Yeah. The name of the website is something like dreamlandresort.com. I think that's the name of it.
Dreamland Resort. Yep.
And basically, he just collects a ton of information and posts it on his websites. Now, the FBI and U.S. Air Force raided several houses owned by this gentleman. His name is Jorge Arnoux. And I don't know if that's his real name or that's his cartoon name, but he runs this Area 51 themed website called dreamlandresort.com. And there was some photographs on there that I guess the government took exception to, and they had to remove those. So he complied. He removed them without any fuss. But this is an ongoing law enforcement investigation between the Las Vegas FBI and the Air Force OSI. Lieutenant Colonel Byron McGarry, who's a spokesman for Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, said that, yeah, this jackass is posting stuff that he shouldn't post. And I'm here to kick ass, take names. And I'm all in bubblegum and stuff. He didn't really say that, but I mean, that's sort of what I imagine he said when he kicked in the door and he grabbed Jorge by the throat.
Yeah, I mean, that's his specialty, though, is posting things that are seen in Area 51. And despite whether you believe Area 51 houses flying saucers that have been recovered from crash sites or what have you, it most definitely is a top secret military installation that the United States government didn't even admit existed until the Obama administration, despite for years and years, people could see it. But it was commonly known as the Skunk Works, where they test all of our top secret military aircraft and other things. I mean, I know they experiment with things like particle beam emitters and all kinds of things there. So
yeah, it's the alien stuff. So the site featured super secret aircraft being developed by the military, as like you said, all kinds of other stuff were on his site. And it's unclear what specific crimes are being investigated. The FBI and Air Force did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Fox News, who did a thing on this. But Arnell told the outlet that he believes the raids were an attempt to silence the Area 51 research community. He said 15 to 20 agents in full riot gear, because you know those UFO nerds are really dangerous.
You never know.
He and his girlfriend were present at the Las Vegas home and were detained and treated in a most disrespectful way. So they led out into the street barefoot and only in her underwear. That's his girlfriend. And she's pretty hot, he said, in a full view with neighbors. I was outside and handcuffed and only in a T-shirt and sweats in sub-freezing temperatures because it was Las Vegas. Does Las Vegas get cold? I bet it does.
I don't know. It's in the desert.
This was just a couple of days ago, so it's cold time of year, relatively. Agents told him that the investigation was related to images posted on his Area 51 website, and according to Arnu, agents took all of his phones, laptops, hard drives, cameras, and drones, which he said contained all of his financial and medical records, in addition to alien ray guns. Arnu added that the damage to his home during the raid and value of the seized equipment is roughly $25,000. That's more than my car. At this point, I have no choice but to take legal action and try to get my equipment back, he said, and to seek reimbursement for the damages and to the pictures that the guys were taking of my girlfriend in the street. So, I mean, you guys out there who are posting stuff on websites, be careful, because the FBI and the Air Force have their eyes open for this kind of information. I went on the website immediately upon seeing this, hoping that maybe there was some information up there. There wasn't. I mean, there is.
Yeah.
And you can go to that site and see a bunch of interesting things, but the information that they took exception to has been taken down.
Yeah. Yeah, I went on there too and checked it out. It's a kind of old school type blog type thing.
Yeah.
It says it's been around since 1999.
Yeah, it's been up for quite a long time. What are you going to do?
I mean, you know, you hang around a top secret military installation and take a lot of photos and videos. Yeah, they're probably going to come after something eventually.
Yeah, you got to expect that, man. This isn't Sweden.
Otherwise, yeah, we'd be eating a lot more meatballs, right?
Orgy, margy, smargy.
All right. Do you have any other news for tonight?
Nope, that's all I have. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's it. Let's move on to our gift giving ideas. But before we do, we'd like to remind everyone to please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. It helps other people find the show. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. I'm posting, as we're doing these stories tonight, posting a lot of these stories on Facebook. So if you'd like to read into them a little bit further, we have a user group called Cosmic Sponge Theorist, if you would like to get them in your feed. Check out Jimmy's work on Instagram. He does some pretty funny stuff there from time to time. But finally, check out our webpage, cosmicsponge.com. There you can find the web store where you can buy gifts for Christmas, for instance, and gain access to all of our shows, along with the write-ups for each and every episode. The transcripts are there as well. Right, Jimmy? Still doing the transcripts?
I am. I'm a little behind on some of them, but 90% of the episodes have their transcripts up. Yeah, I get on the rest of it this weekend.
And if you would like to support the show, there's a couple of ways to do it. One's called Buy Me a Coffee. There's a little coffee cup link there on the webpage. You can click on that for a one-time donation. Or if you choose to support us on Patreon, follow the link right there, or go to patreon.com/Cosmic Sponge. But if you do that, you will gain access to another show we do called Weird Wonders, News and Stories, that we produce exclusively for our Patreon supporters. Our contact information is firstcontact@cosmicsponge.com. So send us an email. Tell us what you think about the show. Let us know if you have an extraordinary story you'd like us to share on the show. Would love to hear from you on that. Or if you have any suggestions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. All right, well, let's move on to tonight's show. We're going to wrap this thing up by going over a few gifts that you may want to give that person that's into Weird Wonders, or buy for yourself. Jimmy, what's the first gift you have on your list? And we have not seeing each other's lists, so I have no idea what Jimmy has.
Okay, you're going to love this first one. This first one's great, okay? And now, you and I mean, I can't speak for you. I'll speak for right?
Okay.
I'm not all into the ghost side of this thing. I mean, we do ghosts, we do paranormal, we do psychics, we do cryptids, and we do UFOs and sciencey kind of stuff. Now, the ghosty kind of thing, I'm a little, not my cup of tea. I've never seen a ghost. I'm open to the possibility, but only like less than 1%. Less than 1% of 1%. But I love the gear. And the gear they have out, if you too want to be a Ghostbuster, where do you go? Ghost Stoppers. Yeah, there's this website called ghoststop.com, and on there, if you want to get started in your ghost hunting business, look no further, because there you can get a beginner ghost hunting kit for only $124.95. Now, that's a lot of money, but you get a lot in this package. First of all, you get this Rook EMF meter. Now, you have to have a Rook EMF meter, or at least some EMF meter. Now, that's electromagnetic, F me, I see something meter. Now, that's the kind of thing that you'll see stuff with the meter, because, you beep it around and then something will spike on it and you'll be able to tell that there's a ghost in the room with you and you need to get the heck out of Dodge. There's also an EVP wrist recorder. Now, this is an audio recorder that puts high quality audio and EVP recording right on your wrist. With one button, easy use, just hit the record and then go investigating. And you can record all night long without holding or even thinking about your recorder. It's just going to record everything, and then you can play that back and hear the ghost say to you, "Get out."
Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph. You might need to slow it down or speed it up to hear that, because ghosts talk in a different speed than the rest of us. You also get a flashlight. Now, this isn't any ordinary flashlight. You see all of those old movies with the flashlights that go out at just the right time? This is not one of those, baby.
A never ready.
This is an ever ready. You're not a never ready. So you've got something that's going to stay on when that ghost is coming to attack you with the axe or with the chainsaw. You can see it coming at you and get a good sense about which way you should dodge. Then, to package all of this stuff up in a handy little way, you get a gear case. Now, this is an optional add-on for this kit, but it costs only like $1.50 more or something. I don't know. They don't tell you, but it looks really cool. It's handy, and you can just slip all the stuff in that, wrap this thing around your belt, I guess, and then go to hunting ghosts. This is just one of many things you can find at ghoststop.com. This is the beginner ghost kit, but there are many other things that you can find here, and they have a Black Friday deal, which will go on before this airs, but I think they're going to run it a little bit longer, so you can check and see if they do.
Cyber Monday, maybe.
And then you got Cyber Monday, which should come out the day after we release this. So that's my first thing, the beginner ghost hunter kit.
And you say it comes with its own fanny pack?
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it comes with a fanny pack. There might even be enough space in there for some water and some sticker bars.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the ghost hunting gear. After we started doing this podcast, we had Les Odell on, and he was talking about using the spirit box when they were doing some ghost hunting.
Oh, I'm still going to get one of those. I haven't gotten one yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I know. I had no idea what it was.
I got $52 saved up. I'm getting a good one.
Anyway, he explained it to us on the show, and I've looked. There's actually all kinds of this stuff on Amazon. Like, they got a wide variety of spirit boxes on here too. That little EMF meter, you can get one of those. Check for magnetic fields for like $23. So
yeah. I'm saving up for that spirit box that has the Roger Waters meter on it. So you can switch it to Roger Waters and get some real psychedelic shit come through.
Hell yeah, man. All right. But anyway, yeah, it's fantastic, man. Let me see the first thing on my list here. Not quite as elaborate as that, I don't think. So I was thinking the first thing that came to mind for me was Bigfoot. And I came across this company called Giffery.com. And this is a hoodie that has fur all over it. It looks like Bigfoot, okay? And it not only has the fur, but it has like the big chest pectorials. I mean, this thing.
Oh, I've got it up right now.
Did you see
yeah,
it?
It's awesome.
Man, this thing is regular $60.95. It is on sale for $31.95. That's a steal for this thing, man. I am not kidding here. It has sizes that range everything from small, medium, large, extra large, all the way out to a 5X. I mean, Bigfoot could wear this Bigfoot hoodie. I mean, a 5X here, man. You know?
Oh, it's great. It's beautiful.
Well, anyway, this is great looking, and are we going to do links?
We are. You send me all of your links, and I'll put it up on the website and on the YouTube channel, along with pictures.
Okay, yeah. So this thing's great, and also on this site, I looked at some other things. They have a lot of really neat. I mean, they have a lot more different kinds of collections besides Bigfoot. But even if you just look at Bigfoot, they have a lot of T-shirts and hoodies and everything. But the furry one, this thing is great. I love it. I would buy this, but where I live, I would probably get shot. Somebody be like, I shot Bigfoot. I think it was a juvenile Bigfoot. You know, but
darn tootin'.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun to have that. But anyway, yeah, that's my first gift.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I mean, it's cheap too, man.
I know.
It's like $32.
Yeah. I'm in that price range for my next gift. My next gift, we're going to stick with the cryptid theme here and go to Scotland. And we're going to go with the Loch Ness.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
So what we have here is the Scotch Ness Critter Chilling Stone. So this is a chilling stone, and those who aren't Scotch drinkers, you can put inside of your Scotch glass a chilling stone, which chills the Scotch in the glass to your liking. And this one looks like a little Nessie. It's cute. And you just drop a little Nessie down in your Scotch glass and go drinking the monster.
We should get that for Frank.
I'm thinking about it. It's only $30 on Amazon. It looks great. It's a cute little Loch Ness monster, and they even pouring scotch over its back. I don't think it's going to be able to swim after this, but it's got a little stopper on the bottom of it so that when it goes into the glass, it stays. And you turn the glass upside down, and there it hangs. It's
nice.
Yeah. That's my next thing. $30. You get a little cold stone for your scotch. There you go.
Okay, so let's just stick with cryptids as long as we're here. I don't know what it is with me and clothing, but I came across this website called Anna Cosplay One. They sell all kinds of different costumes, but really they're adult pajamas, cosplay, animal type pajamas.
Ooh, nice.
This one is a Mothman onesie.
A onesie. Does it have a butt flap?
They have a young lady modeling it. It shows it has the big glowing eyes, kind of horns, which I don't really get that. I guess that's the antenna. The wings are built onto the arms. But anyway, I thought that looked like a pretty neat gift. They have quite a few on here, but I picked Mothman. We talk about Mothman. I should say you talk about Mothman quite a lot on the show.
So is this over at, where's this? Is that pajamascity.com?
It's called Anna Cosplay One. Go to Mothman Halloween onesie adult pajamas. And they are $79, and they have 59 in stock. Oh, went to 58. Jimmy just clicked on it, I see. So,
yeah, I get it.
But anyway, yeah. So anyway, yeah, check out the website anyway. It's some fun stuff.
Okay, can I just say that this is the dumbest looking guy?
I like it.
It's dumb.
What did you think it was going to look like? Like a real Mothman?
Yes.
I mean, it's not nearly as cool as the Bigfoot hoodie.
No, the Bigfoot hoodie is way better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this looks like it was made by an art class in a kindergarten. And if we're going to keep with that theme, my next thing is going to fit right in because it's sticking with the cryptids. Now, I have UFO stuff coming, but have you ever looked at any particular of the classic artists like Monet and Rembrandt? Of
course I have.
Right. But you ever heard of this guy called what was his name?
You're just now asking me if I've seen any classic art in you.
Yeah, Picasso. He was an expressionist artist.
What's that guy's name?
What's that guy named? Van Gogh. The guy that cut his ear off. Van Gogh.
Oh, Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Starry Night.
Starry Night. That's it. And now you too can get your own Starry Night, but instead of that boring, slacky kind of painting with that stupid swirls in it, you get that stupid, slacky painting with the swirls in it, but with Bigfoot in it. There is a Bigfoot Starry Night birchwood wall sign that you can buy off of Amazon for only $20. It looks fantastic. It's got like pine trees in it. It's got the little Bigfoot in there, and then it's got the starry sky above. And it looks,
I gotta look at that. Is it called Starry Night?
It's called Bigfoot, Starry Night, and it's a rustic home decor on Amazon. $19.99.
Hey, that's really cool.
Right?
I mean, I think so. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not super expensive. And you know what? They have this also as a jigsaw puzzle, 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. It's the same artwork.
Right. And they just cut it with a jigsaw puzzle creator thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole theme here. They got like a lantern press artwork, like big vinyl thing. It's only like $6.50. Yeah, all kinds of neat stuff here.
Yeah, and now if you wanted a bigger one, now the $20 one is only 10 by 15. But if you wanted a larger one, you get a 12 by 18 for $40.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like
it's not bad. You get a smaller one, 6 by 9 for only $15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go.
I think you want the big one, though.
I think
if you're going, you got to go all the way.
Yeah, you go big. It's Bigfoot. You go big.
That's right. And you can wear your hoodie.
Right. And if you're going to get that, you might as well go ahead and get a couple of Bigfoot air fresheners, 2-pack pine scent for your car, RV, trailer, tent. Makes your car either smell like Bigfoot or cover up the smell of Bigfoot. Not sure which. It doesn't say in here. I looked. It's only $9.29 for a pack of 2.
Yeah, my sister got those for me last year for Christmas.
Yeah, my wife got them for me too. They smell like
They're
Bigfoot.
actually hanging in my truck. I think I still got some.
They smell like pine trees after Bigfoot wiped his butt with them.
Right. All right. The next thing on my list, let's see. Going with the UFO theme.
Perfect.
I love this thing, man. So I found this on Etsy. It is a table lamp that looks like a flying saucer.
Oh, I'm in.
A silver disc. It has a green dome on the top. For the actual, that's the lamp part that comes down, that's on the table, looks like a radiating beam coming out of the bottom of the flying saucer, and there's a cow floating up.
Oh, that is
halfway
awesome. Oh, I see it here. That is fantastic. It's $34.99.
Yeah, that's it, man.
It is fantastic.
They have another one that has more cows, like a couple of different cows. So there's a couple of variations on the theme, but yeah, that is so cool.
I'm all about this one, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to get it. But yeah, it looks like, there you can you got your UFO theme and your cattle mutilation all in one.
That's a perfect one. Love it.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to learn where this lamp, what inspired this lamp, you can look no further than the UFO Encyclopedia, now in its 3rd edition. Now, the main book, it comes in 2 large volumes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Now, one volume costs $174. This is an enormous book, 4,000 pages. But if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. And if you don't have Kindle Unlimited but still use Kindle, you can buy the entire 2-volume set for just $10 off Kindle.
Yeah, I've heard about this particular book. I've seen him interviewed a few times, the author. Yeah, he tried to be very exhaustive. And Jimmy and I have both talked a little bit. Jimmy's been working on a book about UFOs because you get into this subject and people start saying, they just throw words out there like, well, what about Roswell? Or what about Travis Walton incident? Or this incident, that incident, Betty and Barney Hill? Most of us that's kind of been around know a little bit about those, but Jimmy's been, working on this book, and, we've talked about putting together something that's sort of like a primer, right?
Exactly.
That has the big cases. And that way, if you're like, oh yeah, what is that case? You hear somebody talking about it, instead of asking about it, just look it up and get kind of a brief summary of what the case was. But now this guy has this encyclopedia. I've thought about getting it because I think it'd be real handy for what we do here when we cover UFOs. He's really tried to develop an exhaustive Encyclopedia for all of the major incidents that's happened since this phenomenon began. And I mean, there's thousands of sightings every year. You couldn't put everything in there. But I think he really tries to focus on the ones that are more well-known or have large witness bases and things like that. So my hat's off to him. He's done a massive amount of research to put this thing together. Good choice.
Thank you.
You brought up books. It came to mind that our friend Les Odell, he came on our show in July of 2021. He is a Bigfoot enthusiast. People call him. He'll go out and try to find evidence of Bigfoot right here in West Virginia, more where Jimmy's at, up in northern West Virginia. He also does some ghost hunting from time to time, but he, along with an illustrator, Mark A. Randall, put out a book, West Virginia Cryptids, a visual travel guide for traversing the mountain state. It's just this little small book, but it has beautiful artwork and Les did all the write-ups on it. It's available on Amazon for $10. So it's very reasonable. It's a really cool little book. So, support Les. He's one of the local guys here. I love it. I bought one. I think I bought a couple of them.
Yeah, I've got several of them, and that was actually on my list too. So you knocked one of the things off my list.
Is that what you ran to the bookcase to get?
No, I actually ran to the bookcase, and this is a segue into the next one, to get this little beauty right here.
Oh.
Now, what that is...
What that is...
It's a holder for wine bottles, but it's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, this artist does sculptures, and what it looks like, folks, is it looks like a little monster made out of metal parts. It has like a... It's got like the nuts you have for a screw as eyes, and it's got little half cup. It looks like maybe they had some kind of round metallic things that they cut in half to make the orbs for the eyes, and then put the nuts on there for the pupils, and then like jagged teeth. And this particular one that I have, my wife got it from the sculptor. It holds a wine bottle, but he has, and I'm going to get this. He has one of those little guys in a flying saucer with his little hands on the controls with a little leg sticking down as this welded metal art piece. I'm going to buy this thing. It's amazing. You can get it on Amazon. It's expensive. It's like $80. I mean, maybe that's expensive for me, but I mean, other people maybe not so expensive. Or if you're in this kind of art, it's worth getting into. But I love this thing. It's a little flying saucer, 3 little legs, and this little critter in it who's just sitting there with a big smile on his face with his little hands on it. We'll have that on the website, and you guys can go over and check out this awesome sculpture.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's something unique, something you're not going to find at Walmart, right?
No.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
The next thing I have on my list, sticking with books, and most of my gifts are kind of funny. One thing, if you do have the serious UFO guy in your life, UFO gal in your life, if you have the serious UFO person in your life, then one book that I can absolutely recommend, I've read a few books this year on UFOs. It's called Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. So we've heard a lot about ATIP and how this story got started, really got back in 2017. The Navy videos were released, and then the world's introduced to Lou Elizondo, introduced to Christopher Mellon. Then we hear a lot about this ATIP program. Well, some people's calling it the Aerospace Threat Identification Program, and some people are calling it the Aerial Threat. Red flags went off for a lot of people. It was kind of, wait a minute, don't even know what the name of this secret government program is. But anyway, it's a long story short. All is not as it seems, as we were led to believe. As the story broke that there was the secret government program that was funded for $20 million. Senator Harry Reid was the center of this. It's not exactly how it has been spun or how it was spun by the New York Times. That is not how this program went down. This Skinwalkers at the Pentagon is written by the people who were part of a program called OSWAP, which is the real program that was awarded the funds, and they studied a whole lot more than UFOs. They studied skinwalkers at Skinwalker Ranch, werewolves, all kinds of paranormal, all kinds of different things. And it turns out this whole story was spun by that, what's the name of the author, the journalist that broke the story to the New York Times?
Keenan.
Yeah. But we're going to do an episode on that. We just haven't got it all organized yet. We'll come back to that sometime. But anyway, this book explains that, and they have the documentation to prove it, that these were the guys that were actually doing that research, and they have all of the government documents to back up their claims. So it really set the record straight, and it's fascinating. It's a fascinating book, just for whether you believe in paranormal or not, or UFOs and all those things. It's a good read.
Yeah, I wanted to get her name right. I was doing that off the top of my head. Her name was Leslie Kean.
Is.
I
would say is. I don't think she's passed away.
Well, I was thinking maybe she just decided to change her name to something that was a little bit easier to remember.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I want to just do an honorable mention here before I dive into my next one. I was thinking about this the other day. I thought maybe I would want to get my flat earther friends a globe as a gift, but I want to get them a flat earther globe. We call that a map. So you can go and get a flat earth canvas print off of Redbubble. It's a beautiful globe, flat earth globe, which is a map for flat earthers. And it even has the ice sheet that's all the way around that keeps people from falling off the edge. And, yeah, and a little bit of stuff down there that has nothing to do with science or reality around the edges. It's cool.
I don't know if it's still on there or not, but man, I think I'm pretty sure it was on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
But it could have been Amazon, but I'm 80% sure. There is this documentary, and I wish I could think of the name of it. But man, it is fascinating, and it is about people who believe the world is flat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they have organizations, and they're dead serious. People are interviewing them. They feel like they got that special inside information, like the world's flat. You can't tell me it's round. This is all fake.
That's what happens when you go to new math. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating to watch the belief system these people have. And they even, the best, well, I don't know, I'm going down a rabbit hole.
You are.
But
we got to keep this tight. So hurry up.
One of the best parts of the movie, though, is they developed this experiment. And it's a clever experiment, right? Using lasers and like, they're going to prove that, over this certain distance, and I don't remember how far it was, maybe let's say a mile, something like that. Anyway, they're going to prove over this distance and shoot this laser that if the earth is not curved, right, they flat believe, flat out believe that the earth is flat.
Well done.
And, they're convinced. They're like, we're going to prove to the world right now, we're going to shoot these lasers. We're going to show everyone the world's flat. And they shoot the lasers, and of course there's a curvature of the earth and then it doesn't match up. I mean, it matches up to a curved earth. And the guy that devised the experiment's like, I don't know, man, we must have done something wrong.
No, you did everything right.
You just now proved to yourselves that the world is round by showing curvature of the earth.
Wow. Science works. Who knew?
Yeah. And it's like, if the world was flat, this would have worked, right? It would have, they had little marks on the boards that they were putting up and everything. It's like, it'll hit right here. And then it hit above it, right? And they're like, wait a minute, something's not right. We must not have aimed it right or something.
Couldn't possibly be that we're wrong and that the earth is actually round or egg-shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have one more, and you mentioned Bob Lazar. I want to bring him back into the fray.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, I know you're a fan. So old Bob helped out with a model kit back in the day that precisely is a scale model of the sport model UFO that he worked on at Area S4, which is part of south
S4, right?
S as in Sam and 4 as in golf ball's coming 4. Right? So
yeah.
He helped devise this model, making it as perfectly as possible based on his memory. And you can't buy this anymore, okay, in regular stores, but you can buy it on eBay for a pretty penny. And it's a pretty spectacular little model that you can buy off of there. And again, this is out of print, so to speak. It's called Testors 578 1/48 scale Area 51 UFO gray alien figure model kit. It comes with a little gray alien. Now, I don't think he ever claimed to see a gray alien. He said he passed by.
I think he did.
He said, I passed by a room. There was a little feller in there. It could have either been an Italian or a gray alien. I'm not sure, but there was something in there.
Yeah, let's see. Memorabilia. I'm going to pull it up here.
Yeah. So
here's a Bob Lazar inspired classic UFO model from S4. This one, somebody 3D printed this one, actually. It's only $20.
Yeah, that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the actual Testor. Yeah, Testors is the name of the company. Testors. And there I am spelling again. This particular one I'm looking at is about $125. Some of them are as low as $100. Some of them go as high as $400. I don't know that they're actually selling, but I mean, at these prices, you're getting an authentic, original Bob Lazar flying saucer. Now, if he is actually telling the truth, and he actually worked on this model, and this is the model of the one, that $400 is going to be small cookies. Yeah, we're talking about you could resell this thing for like $1 billion or 1 billion Bitcoins. Well, 1 billion Bitcoins before Bitcoins went to like 50 cents for a billion of them. But, yeah. You got this Bob Lazar sport model UFO.
So Bob Lazar helped work on this. Did he work on the propulsion system?
Probably. I don't know. I
draw squiggly lines.
I just recall, and maybe I don't think I'm making this up in my memory, but I'm getting old. I recall him talking about this on a YouTube video where he discussed him helping, making sure that all of the scale was accurate and correct.
No, that's good to know.
Yeah, and
good to know it's authentic.
Yeah, authentic Bob Lazar scale model, sport model of the UFO that he saw at Area S4.
My last gift idea is pretty generic, but it is a telescope. Get the person you love a telescope or buy one yourself. This is something that I've started getting into. I've always been very intrigued by the night sky.
Sure.
It's been a lot of fun getting into this hobby, and I've started trying to do a little bit of astrophotography along with the astronomy, which is a challenge in itself, and it's been a lot of fun. But the main thing that I find really enjoyable is just getting out in the night sky and looking up at the stars, learning the constellations. The stars have been a part of humanity's history since before humanity. Looking up at the night sky, I mean, every ancient ruin that we're aware of that was built is some type of astro calendar, right? Like Stonehenge and all of these, our ancestors had to, their survival depended on them knowing what the signs of the stars meant, or what time of year it is, so they know when to plant, when to harvest, when to do, and probably even before the days of agriculture, they could tell by the stars when maybe herds were on the move, and they would know to go to a different part of their range in order to hunt,
learning how to use stones and bones to club their opponents with. I saw that documentary 2001 A Space Odyssey where the monkeys were beating things up, and they was looking at starry night sky and the stars inside of this big statue they made. Yeah.
That's where I was going with that. Yeah, thanks.
Well, I'm glad to help out.
But anyway, it's been really cool getting into it, and there's a lot of different ways to get into the hobby. Oh, that was one thing I meant to mention during my news segment, but I'll remind listeners, there's something called an occultation coming up on December 7th, and it is Mars is very bright right now because every 2 years Mars and the Earth get as close as they can in their orbits. They're in what's known as opposition. So on December 8th, it's full opposition, but on December 7th, the moon will pass in front of the planet Mars, and that's called an occultation.
Oh, thank God. I thought maybe I'd have to buy some salve or something. I was going to catch a disease.
Right. But anyway, right now, if you in the northern hemisphere, if you walk out at night and you can't not help but see Mars. It's the big red planet that is just really bright right now. You don't even have to have a telescope to to go out and watch the moon pass in front of Mars. Now, unfortunately, where we live and the southern United States are not going to see a full occultation. We'll just see them come very close. But most of the United States, practically all of Canada, Western Europe, is going to actually get to see the occultation. So anyway, look out for that, December 7th. If you're into it, just walk outside. Hopefully it'll be clear and check it out.
Now, yeah. So now I was looking at telescopes myself. I mean, you and I off air have been talking about telescopes, and there are so many different types of telescopes out there that you can look at buying, all the way from ones that you trip over in the toy aisle in Walmart, up to ones that you have to get federal government funding for to build on top of Hawaii's tallest mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the ones that's more accessible to us, what kind of price range are you looking at spending if you want to get into the hobby in a meaningful way? And I mean getting a telescope where you can actually see something instead of getting a telescope that you use to spy on your neighbors.
Well, it depends, really depends. I mean, if you want to see Jupiter, see the moons, the Galilean moons of Jupiter, you want to see the rings on Saturn. I mean, honestly, you can see those things with a really good set of binoculars. They're not going to be really big. You can see Andromeda with the naked eye if you're in a really dark area. What I would recommend is there's a company called OptCorp, and we'll put this in the show notes. It's OPTCORP, optcore.com, and they sell optical telescopes and everything to go along with it. They have a 101 basic telescope primer. That's what I would recommend, is go in there. These guys are experts, and you can even call them and ask them a lot of questions about, hey, I want to do this. I want to look at the planets, or I want to look at the stars, or I just want to look at the moon. A lot of people spend a lot of time looking at the craters on the moon. So I would say it's one of those kind of hobbies you can get into with not a ton of investment, but it just depends on what you want to do.
Right. So really the important question here, Steve, is if you're looking through your telescope and you see a spaceship with an alien mooning you, what do you do?
Snap a picture. Hopefully I've got my camera attached.
Officer, this was the guy that mooned me.
Well, all right, man. I guess it's time for us to get out of here. But before we do, I'd like to remind everyone, please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. Helps other people find the show. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Go to our webpage, cosmicsponge.com. Oh, and that's one thing we forgot to mention. The web store. Everyone should go to the web store. We have all kinds of Cosmic Sponge merchandise there. There's t-shirts.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put a couple more up there. A couple more products.
Especially if you like the show and know other people like the show, there's all kinds of stuff on there. Coffee mugs, all kinds of Cosmic Sponge memorabilia that you could purchase for that special sponge in your life. If you'd like to reach out to the show with any comments or suggestions, our contact information is firstcontact@cosmicsponge.com. Jimmy, did I leave anything out?
Nope, you got it all covered, my friend.
All right. With all that being said, this is Stephen Hawk signing out, and we'll see you next week.
And Jimmy Coe, keep your eyes to the skies and your feet on the ground. We'll catch you next week.
So what's your favorite item in the Cosmic Sponge store?
Oh, probably the mug. Definitely the mug. I drink a lot of coffee, and those mugs are fantastic. They've been through the dishwasher a billion times. They haven't faded, chipped, nothing. And I'm pretty hard on my mugs, too. I drop them, I clank them. Now, if you drop it on a ceramic floor, I'm sure it'll break, or a wood floor. But when you drop it on carpet and stuff, it handles it well.
That's pretty good. I think my favorite item is the Cosmic Sponge Ferrari, $120,000. Yeah, and then there's the Cosmic Sponge Learjet you can purchase for $5 million. That's right there on the web store. So, listeners, go check that out.
Yeah, I have to say I have 3, and I'm not really too into the interior collars. I would say we probably want to.
You don't like pea green? I thought we agreed on pea green.
Is that the collar we agreed on? Man, I must have been drunk.
No, not pea, but a pea. Like a vegetable pea.
Still, I think I must have been drinking pretty hard to pick that collar. Just saying.
All right, man, let's get out of here.
Yeah. We'll catch you in, I guess, well, I'll talk to you in a couple of days, and then we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next time. I think we're going to have a special episode with our buddy Jason, hopefully.
Yeah, man. We're going to be from Esoteric Book Club.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll be sure to tune in for that.
And with that being said, bye.
It's like, can we leave already?
How many times can you say go bye? Go bye-bye. Go bed.
That's all for this week's episode of Cosmic Sponge. Please don't forget to rate and review us wherever you listen. It helps others find the show. If you have any questions or have a story you'd like to share, you can contact us using our email account at firstcontact@cosmicsponge.com. If you'd like to support the show, consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/cosmicsponge, where you get access to exclusive content, including our Weird Wonders, news, and stories released every week. To explore everything Cosmic Sponge has to offer, including other ways to support the show, head on over to our website at www.cosmicsponge.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.